Hello, everybody. This is CJ Wiley with more adventures on the road. As I get more and more into this book that I'm writing, it has occurred to me several times that I don't think it was any accident that I got into this pool world and had a knack for this pool game. I've had a lot of friends through the years that said, at an early age, the game may have saved their life, because they were maybe going down a tough path, and being able to go to the pool room was kind of a safe haven. I have one friend here in Bristol. His dad used to drop him off because he couldn't really afford a babysitter, and he had to work, and this was many years ago, but he would drop his son off at the pool room, and he'd basically stay there the whole time, all day playing pool, and the older people would take care of him. And then his dad would come pick him up when it was time to go home. And there's a pool room here in Bristol that still carries on that tradition. They don't have any alcohol. It's called Joe's Corner Pocket. And parents can bring their kids there and leave them, and they will be taken care of. And, I think that's really cool. Something that's not happening as much these days. But my first memory of the game of pocket billiards was on TV. They used to have a show called it was Wide World of Sports, but it had Minnesota Fats and Willie Mosconi on. And that was the first time I'd ever seen pool. And Minnesota Fats to me was larger than life. No pun intended for the fat man. His wife called him Fatty. But Mosconi, played the role. Because I think Mosconi wasn't acting. I don't think he really liked Fats. And Fats always got so much attention. And I think there was some legitimate jealousy and animosity with Willie. Because Willie played better. But Fats probably made the majority of the money. And didn't have to work as hard. He worked more with his gift of gab. So Minnesota Fats played a part in getting me into this game, and what I was talking about earlier about the fate of us being involved in pool. And if you have your own story, I'd like to hear it in the comments. Let me know how you got started, and how you think maybe it was no coincidence that you are a pool player, or love the game, enjoy the game, use the game, to get away from the world. And, I think it's great exercise for older people. You get in especially your 70s and 80s. Pocket billiards is the perfect game to keep yourself mentally and physically active, especially if you do it right. So, fast forward many years later, this was like, I think it was 94, that I was at the Bicycle Club Casino in Los Angeles. And they had two tournaments. They had the California State Championships, and then the Professional Championships. And all the best players pretty much played in both of them. So, it was the who's who of pool, Buddy Hall, Earl Strickland, Johnny Archer, Mike Sigel, Nick Varner, Efren Reyes, Luat from the Philippines, Ondam, did I say Hopkins, Mizrak, Jimmy Reed, Dallas West, on and on. But they were, this year that I'm talking about, and again, I'm not 100% sure on the year, I'd have to double check, but they were celebrating Minnesota Fats. And so Minnesota, Rudolph Walderone Jr. was his actual real name. But he was there with his wife. T-Bell is what she went by. T-Bell. And I ended up meeting her, and we all went to the Magic Castle in Los Angeles. It was a private magician's club. And we got an invitation from a magician that also played pool there. I'll have to think about his name, but he got us, you had to be invited by a professional magician to get into the Magic Castle. So I went with T-Bell and a group of people, and we had a pretty good time. But it was kind of freaky because this house, or it looks like a mansion, is all set up for magic tricks. So I mean, they can do some wild stuff. And one of the guys we were with, that was actually with T-Bell, was from Tennessee. Nashville's where Minnesota Fats lived. And he was there, and we went into a room, and they did a deal. And they ended up taking his watch, and he didn't know it. And then they put it in like a vase that was on the stage that was there the whole time. And then they ended up, they had him come up, and that's when they got his watch. And then they ended up having him stand up and come up, and he got his own watch out of the vase. And it freaked him out. He got visibly shaken. And he was saying, man, there's something wrong here. I got to get out of here. So he went ahead and left. He took a cab and left us there. So we had a good time. Anyway, it came down to Efren Reyes and me in the finals of the Texas State Championships. I say Texas, it was California State Championships. I stand corrected there. We were in LA, California, not Texas. So anyway, I won the California State Championships. I beat Efren Reyes in the finals. And coincidentally, Efren and I played in the finals of the professional tournament as well. And he defeated me in that tournament. So we both got to the finals. But before the tournament started, I was warming up. And I'm on, there's a line of tables, probably about 8, maybe 10 tables. And it's just like I said, the who's who of pool. Earl's practicing, Johnny's practicing, Nick Varner and Sigel's over there. And you can hear him gabbing with the crowd, chirping, we called it, with Sigel. So Minnesota Fats and T-Bell were over there. And they're about 3 tables down, sitting, but kind of angled towards my table. And I can see they're just talking among each other. And I can't help but be aware of Minnesota Fats because he was a childhood, hero to me. He's like an icon in pool. So I'm practicing, and I'm, like I said, I got to the finals of both tournaments, so I'm playing really good. And so I've got, I'm trying to get into dead stroke and get into that zone. And I go down on a shot and shoot it, and I out of the corner of my eye, I see Minnesota Fats, and I swear he's pointing at me, which made me self-conscious there for an instant. And I was like, I wonder why he's pointing at me. Is he making fun of me? Is he telling me, he could beat that cocky kid over there or something? I don't know. So I just kind of forgot about it. So the tournament ended, and like I said, I had a great tournament, got to the finals both times. And Minnesota Fats ended up passing away within about a year. Within a year after that tournament. It wasn't very long after that, because T-Bell was coming through Dallas, and she called me, and I told her she could stay with me and my wife at the time. We were married, had a house there in Dallas off Walnut Hill and Abrams Street. Lake Highlands is the name of the suburb. Same street George Bush lived on. He lived about 2 miles west of there. Probably a little bit nicer house, gated community. I had a nice one, but I'm pretty sure George had me beat on that. So T-Bell comes and stays with us, and we're up, and we're having a couple drinks and just having a good time. I mean, nothing wild, but she's sharing some stories about Fatty. Like I said, she called him Fatty. And she says to me, we were at the bicycle club, and you were there. And I remember we were sitting there, and I asked Fatty, I said, do you still think you can beat these guys? And Fatty's like, oh yeah, I could still beat every single one of them. I'll bust them. They can bet it as high as they can stack it. I'm old, but I still got it. I can beat every single one of them, except for that one. And she said he pointed at me. And she said it was shocking to her because he had never said that anybody had any chance of beating him. So she's like, really? He goes, yeah, there's something about that one. And so she said, I always, she'd been wanting to tell me. She said that was something else because she was married to him several years and heard like all the stories. But she said that's the only time that she remembered that he admitted that he might not be able to beat somebody. So that was probably the best compliment that I've ever got, considering Minnesota Fats was really got me into the game. And as far as an icon, he was unbeatable. So that inspired me, and that's probably a lot of the reason that I'm here sharing this with you now. Because I think there is fate. I think there is karma. I think there are things that have convinced me that there's a universal subconscious that, makes everything fit together at a high level. One that we probably aren't quite smart enough to conceive or perceive or understand at this point. But we all will someday. Anyway, if you enjoy my stories and want to learn more about my fundamentals, techniques, and systems that I use to become the ESPN World Champion and be named one of the top 3 gamblers of the 20th century with Efren Reyes and Earl Strickland, according to Billiard Digest anyway, you can reach me at masteringpocketbilliards.com. That's my private website that has all my full-length instructional videos, and we're updating it now. We'll have a new version out within, I don't know, probably 2 months, but it's really going to be strong. So I appreciate everybody that's a member, and it helps me help you learn more about these high-level fundamentals and share my stories. And again, the game is the teacher.